I have thyroid myself. I have done and tried a lot of things of kind of removing things from my diet, adding certain things, um, a lot of breath work, pranayam, yoga, gargling with turmeric. Like I've tried everything. Okay, certain things yes did help. Like I went from 150 mcg to 75.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm now at that, and I'm still trying to go lower. Um, but again, a lot of health play and nutrition comes into it. What would you suggest for thyroid?
So, as soon as someone comes with a borderline thyroid, we first check their iron levels because low iron deficiency can make your thyroid worse. Second is vitamin B12 deficiency. So, always keep your B12 above the 500. Then check the amount of kind of fats you are incorporating in your diet. If so there is something called essential fatty acid. It is available in fish as food, otherwise normal vegetables oil which we consume. Thyroid reduces because if you have insulin resistance, so sometimes if you're taking medication for insulin resistant, thyroid levels go down. Yeah, so sometimes they're hand in hand, so you need to check your insulin levels too. And
I'm coming to you for a full body check.
okay. Hi, I'm Suman Agarwal, founder of Self Care, Nutritionist. I've written some books, and today we are having a very interesting conversation with Parul. Hi, Parul.
Thanks.
I've seen your page, of course, and you are mother of four.
Yes.
And so beautifully maintained. So, what's the secret and what do you do? I'm like really curious to know.
Okay, I think discipline has been my main go-to. I also always tell them, I said, I don't maintain myself, my children maintain me. So it's just such a hectic lifestyle otherwise. But one, mainly nutrition and fitness is what kind of puts me together and has made me who I am today.
People think that somebody who's so well maintained and beautiful, well kept is by chance you're beautiful, but they don't understand the hard work which goes behind maintaining yourself and your skin and your. I mean,
Everything.
you need to take care of everything, right?
Yes.
And with that, four kids, and they're how old?
16, 11, 9, and 5. So
Wow.
one boy and 3 girls.
Wow.
And I guess like today, when I look at my kids, it's so important to let them know how important it is for self care and self love. And when they see you do that, they want to do that for themselves. And I see that at home, especially with my girls, a lot.
Yeah.
They're very like, what are you doing? Like, what are you eating? What are you doing to like, your skin? They want to see what I'm eating, everything. It's like this. Do you like eating this? I'm like, yeah. Like, okay, so if you like it, I should like it as well. So I guess like today in
They're relating you.
yeah. Like you need to relate to them.
Yes.
Which is very
It's so interesting, Parul, that you said about self care. And 24 years ago, I opened my company and the name was Self Care.
oh wow.
So I thought that why I gave that name because I believe that nutrition and good health and fitness is not all about just eating the right food. It is you need to take care of yourself
Yes.
first because I was also mom that time. I'm mom of three.
Oh yes. Between us, we have 7 children right now.
And I saw that during that time, people were getting so obsessed with size zero. They
Yeah.
were literally neglecting their own nutrition.
I've gone through that phase.
Yeah, okay. So my first article which I wrote for Femina was about thin versus healthy. Because I believe that you need to nourish your body so you could nourish your soul so that you could nourish your kids and then you are the Annapurna of the house. You need to literally look into everyone's food and what you're serving on the table.
True.
So I'm very happy to know that you are paying attention to self-care and self-love.
I think like for me it was everyone when I first started going to the gym, I didn't want to go to a gym because I was thin. But like you said, thin versus healthy.
Yes.
When you start going through health disorders or stuff, when you're thin is when you realize
Exactly.
what is the self-care that goes behind it. So even when you're talking about your size zero, I've gone through that whole phase during my modeling days back almost 20 years ago. But I then realized how important, like slowly, slowly over time with age, you start realizing when your body starts talking to you and just listening to your body and seeing what is important. So, yeah.
Great. So, what do you do besides being a mother and a daughter?
So, currently, life has hit me with a lot of beautiful things coming my way. I'm leading different roles. Launching an app in hospitality, which is
Oh,
completely
beautiful.
different. I'm studying my counseling. So I'm doing a counseling diploma for 11 months, which I want to use into practice. I'm also an NLP master practitioner. So using all these tools and techniques, I'm putting together a course for children that works on their emotional quotient, because a lot of times we focus on IQ only in school, like, what to study, how to study, what to do, but nobody focuses on the emotional side of it. Even in the emotional side, a lot of nutrition also comes into play, because if you're eating unhealthy or having certain foods, your emotions also get triggered
Of course.
internally, which a lot of people don't want to relate like emotions to food. A lot of times people end up binge eating when they're emotionally like unstable or whatever it is. So basically, I'm putting together a course for kids to work on their emotions, because those things, that's what your values, your belief system, everything about you changes. So why wait to go to adulthood to heal your inner child if you get the right tools and techniques how to handle it
That's
a young age? So yeah, that. And then I have obviously Parul Kakkad and Mumbai as two different individuals that I do, a lot of work.
Oh, so MumbaiMummy is different.
MumbaiMummy is different, Parul Kakkad is different. So Parul Kakkad is an entire space where I'll be doing events and nightclubs, and um, it's that side of me that is more of my life. And then MumbaiMummy is my kids' life. So I always say I live like two different lives. One is for myself and one is for my children.
And as a wife, and as a daughter,
Yes,
and as an
all
entrepreneur.
everything, all the different
Many
roles
hats
and
you wear.
hats.
Super.
What about you?
So, of course, as you know, that I was a young mom. When I was 21, I had my first child. So then the second one, Juhi came, Priyanka came first, and Juhi, who's now a doctor, and she came after 5 years, and then Komal. And when I started my practice as a nutritionist in 2001, and so it's going to be 24 years in just 15 days.
Wow.
10 days, yeah. So I did not know that nutrition was really ingrained in us from childhood, and I had a serious sort of a desire, actually not for nutrition, but to be healthy forever. Can you imagine healthy forever?
Wow.
Yeah. It's because I was a really a sickly child. My mother tells me that from the age of 1 month old, I have taken antibiotic course repeatedly every 2, 3 months till I wanted to understand how to be healthy forever. I didn't want to take antibiotics.
Yeah.
I didn't want to fall sick. And plus, being a Marwadi, I had a host of diseases, not in me, like in our genetic history. Take it start from diabetes, blood pressure, cholesterol, asthma, rheumatoid arthritis, osteoarthritis, ischemic heart disease, cancer, you name it, and we had it in our genetic history.
Oh my God.
So I wanted to make sure that I don't get any, and if I can help people not to get any. So my quest was how not to get cold, because I was fed up, literally.
Yeah.
That is why I used to read a lot of books on. So I remember first book I read, I must be around 13, 14 years old. It was a fat book of only diseases. I read the whole book at that age.
Wow.
Because I wanted to understand what is disease, why it happens, and how you can cure them. I had no knowledge of science. So I did not know that this was my calling till a very long time. And then I used to just sit and wonder what happens to the food and what can we eat not to fall sick.
Correct.
Then I came upon the course on nutrition. And when I started the first day itself, I thought I was meant to do this all my life. And once I finished my course, worked in a hospital. So I wanted to, of course, work on myself, my own nutrition, because I was going all over the place, becoming like stopping having lactose, becoming vegan, everything I've done.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, of course, I broke all those myths and started following a very good, nutritious diet. And from falling sick and taking antibiotic once in 3 months, now it is once in 3 years I take one.
Yeah.
That is the way I have reached. And from I'm plus 50, and out of all the
You don't
diseases
look
which I thank you. No, I think I look, and I'm aging, which is fine.
Aging gracefully,
Oh, thank you.
which is the most important.
Yeah. So I wanted to bring about a nutrition which I have been able to avoid every ailment which I mentioned till now. So this is what I wanted to bring to everyone. So everyone, of course, everyone comes to me for weight loss because that's the go-to thing. Not right now, forever. Yeah, forever. So, but I tell them, listen, that's your goal. My goal is to make you healthy forever because that's what I've done for myself. And not even healthy forever. I tell them your goal should be at the age of 90 plus, walking erect without a support,
Yeah.
and having all your faculties with you. That is what you should be looking forward to.
True.
So that was my goal, and I have been, of course, thousands and thousands people we have helped to reverse ailments. So that is, of course, my nutrition. So I have four clinics, three in Mumbai, one in Kolkata. But we do have clinics all over the world because we have a online system of consultation through now the many mediums are there to online consultation. We also have an app, by the way.
Oh, nice.
So which my youngest one worked upon.
What is it called?
It's called Self Care India. Self Care by Suman, maybe. Okay, so that's the app, but it is right now only available to our clients. Now we are going to be making it available to our inactive clients. Then we will come to the launch it for everyone.
That's nice.
Yeah. So that's another thing we have. And I have also written books, 3 books, because I thought that, just telling people, okay, have this food.
Yeah.
If I could give them very easy to make, interesting and tasty recipes,
Yeah.
and which are even junk food, like we have Sepuri recipe in our book, we have burger recipe in our
Oh,
book.
wow.
So we have pizza recipe in our book.
Thank you, Mama.
So noodle. So those are the recipe in Anchang which I've written. So that is one book. Super Kids is one book. I thought that to talk about kids is, if we invest in a child's health, you not only invest in their future, which
Yeah.
is the best investment they can actually get,
True.
but we are investing in a healthy nation.
Yeah.
Because healthy children will make a very prosperous and healthy nation.
Totally.
That's what we need to bring about. That's why I wrote Super Kids. And of course, I have come out with a brand called Mishta,
Yes.
which since I'm from Calcutta and the mithai and desserts are deeply ingrained in me. So it just suddenly struck to me one day that I have only been seeing people gifting and eating desserts, which are macaroons and cupcakes and cheesecakes and mousses and you name it, and chocolates. And that has become the, okay, aaj kuch meetha ho jaye, and they're eating chocolate. What about Indian meetha?
Yeah. True.
So that's why I was as a chef, I used to always get I have learned every mithai from everyone possible. I used to really love eating mithai. I still do.
Even me.
Yeah.
I mentioned to you, I have like two favorite mithais, and you said those are the only two unhealthy ones.
Yeah.
So,
So it's called Mishta by Suman. And so we came out about the Gond laddus, besan laddus, pista, almond laddus, and coconut laddus, and of course Nolen Gur Sandesh and Kesaria Sandesh. And so
can I get a hamper from you, please?
done deal. It is going to reach you. And I wanted the kids of today
Yeah.
not to grow up eating or depending on so much on chocolates and cupcakes and market. I wanted them to depend upon the Indian mithais, which
Yeah.
has so much of goodness to it. You see, the almond and pista laddu are rich in good sources of fats as well as some amount of protein, and then besan is rich in fiber at the same time.
Correct.
Protein rich. Sandesh is so good for your bones, and for children especially. It is paneer, right?
Yeah.
So good for their height growth, good for their brains, good for their muscles and bones, everything. So that's how the Mishta came about, which we of course launched 2 to 3 years ago, and in touch with it's doing pretty well. So this is all about.
Quite some time ago with my first child, but about 15, 16 years ago, when I started giving milk. So obviously I breastfed all my children.
Oh, that's
Yes, for almost a year, except for one. She had an issue with her digestive thing, so I had to switch her to a rice-based formula. But I went straight from breast milk to formula milk, to cow's milk. But then after some time, I was asked to stop giving cow's milk because there's a certain,
Allergen.
yeah, or protein that doesn't digest with
Yeah. Cow milk
kids and
has some. Yeah.
babies. And it was okay for to give yogurt but not milk.
Okay.
So that's what I know of, and I've continued that with my kids. So I never took the calcium away from them, but I just replaced it in another form. But tell me why and what is the myth and what is it about milk?
So, of course, everyone knows that milk has lactose. And if you have not had, like, I'm lactose intolerant already because I told you I turned vegan.
Yes.
Way back in time. And of course, my body stopped producing lactase to digest lactose.
Correct.
But of course, as you mentioned, that some children have lactose intolerance. So having curd or paneer, actually, which is easier digestible forms, are fine.
Yeah.
So the thing about milk is people think it is only calcium in the milk which is required by the children. Now I'll tell you the as a nutritionist why milk or curd or paneer is needed by the kid, especially for vegetarians. So the milk not only has calcium but highly absorbable form of calcium.
Correct.
Which is if you take it from sesame or from anything else, it may not be the absorbable form because of the presence of oxalates. Secondly, thirdly, I mean, first is calcium, second is highly absorbable, third is the protein in the milk, or curd or paneer does not go away, which is of best quality possible in the sense it's called first class protein because it has all essential amino acids. Why we need the first class protein is because all the functions in our body depends on protein, whether it's enzyme production, whether it is bile juices or blood. Globin is protein, the hair and the skin and the nail and the antibodies are made from protein.
Yes.
So every function depends on, even hormones are made from protein. So that gets impacted if the first class protein is not given. Especially for vegetarians, that's the only source of first class protein, nothing else. Okay. Now the last but most important fact is the fat in the milk, which people think it is evil, but the cholesterol for vegetarian meal only comes from milk and milk products. Whether it is milk or dahi or paneer, the cholesterol is not lost. Okay, even the ghee is purely cholesterol. Now, why cholesterol is needed? Because it is bad, because it's got SFA also. But the cholesterol in the milk is required for a pregnant woman, especially if you are vegetarian, because your brain cells grows on cholesterol during when the child is in the womb, and also during the first 1 or 2 years when the brain becomes double its size. Can you imagine? One of the major factors is cholesterol in your diet for the brain development.
Wow.
That's why, as a Marwadi, we know that we were literally given a lot of ghee in our diet. So you know that, yeah?
I put on 26 kilos in my first pregnancy.
Oh God.
And I kept like eating, thinking, ki, I want to touch 100. I just want to touch 100. And I was like, what am I doing to myself? I'm like eating to do this. And I'm like, what am I going to do post? Like, so I've gone through that work.
Yeah. So, but you must understand the logic behind it. So that is why milk, dahi or paneer is needed. Of course, the out of the milk of buffalo or the cow's milk, one can be allergic to cow's milk. It has more allergens than the buffalo milk. But if you have curd, in fact, it enhances the calcium of the curd rather than milk, which is a good substitute.
Yes.
And paneer does not have the waste,
So I've been doing the right.
Of course.
Thank God.
Yeah. So whenever any pregnant woman comes to me, I said, please don't have fat-free milk just to control your weight.
Yeah.
Because we need the fat because of the cholesterol.
खाना है तो दिल से खाना.
Ah.
वरना नहीं.
Yeah. And even during lactation period we give. Now the problem is mothers are also not giving milk to their children or dahi or paneer.
Yeah.
So that is what is I'm facing, which I am of course giving a lot of podcasts like this to make not only the mothers who come directly to me, to make them aware and make sure that the child growth is proper, not only height but also the brain and the muscle and the bone and the immunity and everything possible. But of course for the future of a child, it's so important. So that is my work all the time, which I'm doing so not even during pregnancy, but during lactation and to the child when they are any form of milk protein. If you are not lactose intolerant, is to be given, especially to vegetarians. Non-vegetarians get cholesterol from eggs,
Yeah.
Yolk is full of cholesterol, which is very good. So even when the women come to me, I tell them don't only have whites, please add yolk to your diet during pregnancy and lactation, and even for child. So this way we counsel everyone for the milk. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's so important because sometimes, just that one little article we read or that one post we see that don't have, a yolk according to like only have
Cool.
egg whites or whatever it is. It just changes the entire mindset and mind frame, not knowing that it doesn't suit everybody's body.
Yes.
Certain people need to take certain intake, increase certain things. Also, I wanted when you were talking about the whole calcium aspect, my son is a gym freak. So he's very particular. He literally weighs his protein, how much he's eating, how many calories he's having. So he's counting, and he's at that age, where he's
they're very
conscious and aware about all of this. And he was talking to me about calcium. So I said, you can have all the calcium you want, but there has to be D3 that helps you like absorb the calcium into your body. So that is another thing which a lot of people don't like understand. So what do you have to say about that?
So D3 is of course very very important vitamin. Does not only play the role in absorption of calcium because they only think about okay D3 means calcium absorption, but it has other so many roles which people are not aware.
Would you like to enlighten us?
So first of all, D3 is required for the absorption of calcium. So the children require it. So even if they're taking enough calcium through their food in the milk and dahi and paneer and cheese, etc., if they don't have enough D3, it's not going to get absorbed in your gut. Now the second problem with D3 is that it is actually in sun. So if the rays fall on your skin, then it gets absorbed and converted into D3, which is absorbing the calcium. Now, for the D3 to get converted in your body, again, you need cholesterol. Can you believe it?
Wow. So it's an entire.
Yeah. So if you're not eating cholesterol rich food, which comes from, the yolk or milk or dahi or paneer or cheese, you're not going to get absorbed D3. I know one person. So this guy was jogging every morning, became dark, totally tan because he was in the sun. But his D3 was very low. Why? Because he had zero cholesterol in his diet. He was having only fat-free milk. He was only having egg whites. And he was not having ghee on his chapati. And his vegetables were made on oil. So I did the whole study and I understood why it was D3 was so low, though he was exposing himself to the sun.
So it's so important. I'm glad I did.
Now, so that's about the calcium absorption and D3. So of course you can take injections, which is everyone is deficient. And even if you are exposing yourself to the sun, you don't know how much of the sun rays are actually reaching your skin because of the high levels of pollution, especially on the metro cities because of the jets circulating on top. Now the D3 deficiency can also cause high blood pressure. In fact, if we see a blood pressure person whose pressure, even with medication, is not managed, as soon as we make sure that his D3 is corrected and the calcium is given, the pressure comes down. So, for blood pressure is very, very important. Third, very low D3 can cause insulin resistance or early diabetes or pre-diabetes. Yeah. That is another problem which people are not aware. Even the heart for pumping, which is pumping all the time, it's one machine which never stops in your body. It requires calcium to pump. Yeah. So D3 is connected, then calcium.
Wow. So there's so much to it.
And D3 is also important for skin. Sometimes anyone who comes with a lot of skin issues, we check their D3 is very low. As soon as you balance their D3 and calcium, their skin clears up. Then, of course, the last and not the least is cancer. Very low D3 has been linked to some cancers. So, we prime anyone who has genetic history of cancer in their family. We make sure their D3 is always prime, but not a toxic level. Because toxicity of D3 is also bad.
Yeah, true. So, I have an issue of calcium stones that were recurring.
In your kidneys?
Yeah, I've never gone to a doctor. I've never gotten it checked, but I'd love to, like, just in general, like, know about it because a lot of people do have that issue of having calcium.
The kidney stones.
Yeah.
So the kidney stones happen because of high uric acid.
Okay.
If your uric acid is more than 6, that means you need to understand what kind of protein you're having and you need to modulate with a nutritionist. That could be one reason. And of course, low D3. And also, you need to, I think, check for your parathyroid, PTH levels. So, all these things are interrelated. And it's a very, very long talk.
Definitely coming to you if you're doing this. I'm like, I'm getting so much yarn, like so much knowledge from this.
No, I'm happy because I've been in this field since morning and I love to read.
Yeah.
Any article comes and I read it. So
I know we were talking about intermittent fasting. That you read an article and how it.
So of course, intermittent has been there since a very long time, and what we self-care has believed in, which you have believed in from the day one, we believe in intermittent fasting, but 12 hours.
Okay.
We believe that you first food which should go into your tummy should be 9 o'clock, and the last time you should eat your dinner is at 9 o'clock. And between you can of course have 2 meals which are important, which is lunch at 1 and evening snacks at 5. 9159, 4 hour difference between 4 meals is very important. So this is what we believe, and that ensures your regular inflow of energy, maintenance of your immunity, maintenance of your muscle, because muscle starts to drop if you don't have enough food, because then you're eating your own muscle for energy and work, right? So this is the 4 hour, and of course the balance of nutrition from breakfast, lunch, and with snacks and dinner, and this ensures very good sleep, very good immunity, very good inflow of energy and gut. Okay. Of course, intermittent talks about having 3 meals in a day, 16 hours fasting. So we are, so if someone insists, we create a healthy diet, keeping in that limit, but we always tell them, we try to give them something like maybe some nuts in the morning, or maybe a protein smoothie, at least if they listen to us, which is less than 50 calories. You at least have that with folded hands, otherwise you're going to lose muscle. And of course, you might get acidity. And of course, the new article we spoke about is that increase in the heart attacks or incidences of heart, people who are doing intermittent fasting for a prolonged period of time, which I have to yet go into deep about it. We just read it yesterday.
Yes.
So what my take is to everyone that who are depending on intermittent fasting, having dinners early. So that person. Yeah. So I try to tell them to have at least a protein smoothie morning or night if you're finishing your day early, to avoid any of the issues which you may have in long-term belief, because you know, we know by our ancestors, everywhere you go in the world, it is, say, people in Europe will eat say 8, 12 for 8. America will be 7:30, 7, 11, 3, 7. So everyone works in this. So we have always stuck to the basic science of nutrition. We have never wavered ourselves. Unless somebody really insists, we do, but we tell them to be aware.
And what is it? So I'll give you my example. I have been doing intermittent for over 5 years, but I wouldn't say I'm consistent at it. It's maybe at least 5 days a week I manage to.
Yeah. Thank God for that.
Yeah. So I have treat days. I wouldn't call it cheat days. I call it treat days.
Treat days. I love that word. I'll change it in my dictionary when my nutritionists are talking to everyone.
It's a treat day.
Treat day.
You know. But I've also realized that I can treat myself every day. Now we have so many different ways of eating healthy, right? It's not just because you have to eat healthy, the food is boring. You know?
Yes, that's what I believe. That's why we are.
Yeah. So I've also realized that because I'm not eating that much, and I guess like somewhere ever since I've started meditating, I feel my body is more zen, and I don't require that much to function in a day. But yes, when I'm working out, in the days I work out, I have to have like my protein shake like immediately after my workout. So that is another part apart from the regular meal that I have. But just getting together, like now, some days I've been so hectic with work that I haven't been able to work out. So I feel like I have like two heavy meals. I have like a heavy first meal and I feel like I incorporate everything that I can, like in terms of like getting my fiber, getting my protein, getting my carbs.
You try it,
Yeah,
which is great.
Yeah, so it's like a whole complete meal, but one like meal. And then when I get hungry, I eat. My body clock has become like that.
Yeah.
So I'm okay to eat between 12 and 2 p.m. as my first meal. My last will be between 7 and 9 p.m. depending on how hectic.
Yeah, so you just have to introduce 2 smaller meals if you can.
Yeah.
It would be great.
Yeah. So I mean, like I'll have like a snack or a fruit
Yeah.
or a chas or a juice or something of that
You're
sort.
doing a great job with yourself. Yeah. Just for future.
No, the thing is, sometimes from outside it may look great, but then what is happening inside, we don't technically know, which
So this is what has worked for thousands of our clients over the years. We have been able to reverse diabetes. We have been able to stop people from having insulin. People have stopped taking blood pressure medication. They have reduced their thyroid medication. They have stopped having migraines. The hair fall has stopped. Back pain, knee pain. You name it, and we have tried to help people with the issues. In fact, our cancer diets are really good. People who have gotten cancer and they want to make sure that there is no reoccurrence, so we really prepare them with a very sound nutritious diet. Plus people who can have they have very strong family genes of cancer, so we again prepare them so that they don't get cancer in future. So we really work hard on that aspect. So that is why the nutrition is a very big part, and it has to be really instead of following from the internet, okay, this is going, let's try this. Okay, there is gluten free, so let's go gluten free.
Yeah.
We tell them that don't stop having a particular food because it's a fad, because your body will stop producing that enzyme to digest that food. So, like, which happened with me. I stopped having lactose, so I stopped having lactase in my body, and I can't digest milk as milk, but I'm having paneer and dahi. That I paused myself to.
Yeah.
So I understand what you're coming from, but having 4 meals in a day, 2 big meals, I'll tell you how we do a calorific distribution. We believe that the breakfast should be heavier than your snack and your lunch should be heavier than your dinner. That's how you maintain a very hourglass figure where your 60 to 65% of your calories come with your lunchtime.
I think that's what I pretty much.
Yeah, which is great. So you're having a consistent 1 meal instead of 2 meal. But if you have a very small breakfast, maybe a shake like that on a daily basis, that will improve. Okay. Your energy levels and everything. And a small snack you're already doing. So doing a good job, just 1 meal.
Yes, I will. Suman, you told me about having children after 40 and the nutrition, and I heard about you doing the 2 case studies. What would you like to tell me about that?
Of course, I mean, the handling pregnancy of someone who's plus 40 is difficult. It's a risk pregnancy. And this lady who came to us was 46-year-old, and she had really tried hard, and she had gotten pregnant through IVF. It was a difficult pregnancy, not only because of the age, but she also had pregnancy toxemia, preeclampsia, and her placenta was lying low, and of course, she was really overweight. So this case was tough for us, and by God's grace, she had to have baby deliver preterm because of her weight and everything. But touch wood, her baby is healthy. She delivered well, and baby is doing well, and she's doing well.
That's amazing.
So yeah,
I actually had a similar issue with my 4th pregnancy. I was admitted in hospital at 26 weeks, and the doctor wanted to have like a preemie baby, but I'm like, the baby's better cooking inside than outside. So I literally admitted myself for the last 6 weeks.
Okay.
And I went into hospital, and I had a low-lying placenta. And because I had 3 C-sections already, this was my 4th cesarean.
Yeah,
So my
unheard of.
Yeah, so my doctor's been. I had a internal the scar was thinning out. Hence, I could not put on weight. I was not allowed to put on weight because I had already put on a certain amount. But having a healthy diet is what she put me on. And that's what made me go and push myself. I completed 35 weeks.
Amazing.
Yeah. So from 28 weeks to 35, I was like there. But I didn't put on weight. I think I max put on like a kilo and a half. But the baby was healthy.
Through the pregnancy?
No, the last. Like towards, she's like, I need to get this baby out or something's going to happen to you. And she's like, you already had 3 kids and I can't risk your health. Life. That's where my
very
nutrition.
brave.
Yeah. So I was high on protein, but very particular about what I was eating.
So we do have those kind of requests. Once a lady came at the 88 kgs and her doctor had said that she can't gain much weight. So she delivered 3.1 kg. You know what was her weight by the end of her pregnancy? She came on the fourth week of the pregnancy till she delivered at 40th week. She gained only 3 kgs.
Wow.
And a baby was 3.1 kg. So she used all her fats and touchwood healthy baby.
Yeah.
So our aim is to make sure that the child who's born is mentally very strong by
Great.
making sure enough
Yes.
calcium,
Yes.
cholesterol, proteins, energy giving food, vitamins, everything. We give a complete package. So that was one other case study. And of course, we handle a lot of twin pregnancies because the nutrition for twins is totally different. And yeah, so also they're always at the risk of preterm. So we do handle in terms of nutrition only. We are of course not gynecologists. We do have a Dr. Firoz Sonawala is one gynecologist who really recommends his patients to us, and it's been working very well. And I love this part of my counseling and consultation because that it's not only that you're taking care of the mother, the child who's also
Correct.
the future of our nation and of course the future of.
Yeah.
So I love this part, and creating healthy babies is what I love doing.
Yeah, which is great because a lot of times we always think that, oh, because I'm pregnant, I need to eat for two, but you're not eating for two, you're eating for one and maybe even lesser than like 1/4, you know.
So
But
yeah,
having the correct amount
yeah, of
and
protein. And
yeah.
so the protein requirement goes up by 1/3
Okay.
of your protein previously, and calorific requirement, which is a total calorie requirement, goes up by 1/5 to 1/6. The protein is actually supposed to be more than anything else, and of course the good quality fats and everything.
Everything, yeah.
Yeah.
So you're not eating for two, you're eating for 1 and 1/4 and 1/3 and 1/5.
Whatever, yeah.
Counts.
And many minerals and requirements, all that goes up. But they're like, I wanted to tell you that pregnant women don't understand that sometimes they think, of course, you can't have tea and coffee, it has caffeine and tannin,
Yes.
which not only leaches out calcium from your meals, but also the iron, which is both are very important for fetus's growth. But also they think green tea is great, but green tea also have catechin, which can actually decrease the absorption of folic acid. So there are certain toxic food for pregnant women which we really insist upon, and so that also many women don't.
Okay. There's one more thing I want to ask, which I went through, was a lot of people don't like talking about it, but constipation in pregnancy and
Very
the nutrition and the iron that
Deficiency,
comes with it, the
yes.
iron deficiency, because we have to have iron, and iron in turn causes the constipation. How can you help bust that issue as well?
So constipation is a problem which many women face because they can't walk ultimately because
Correct.
they become so
Yes.
full. So keeping themselves active through the pregnancy will help them to walk better towards the end.
Yes.
Because your muscles are still going to be strong.
Correct.
Otherwise the muscles really become weak and they're not able
I've
to.
worked out through all my pregnancies.
Great. Now, the constipation happens because maybe the fiber is not enough. So, having oats which has soluble fiber, having dals which has soluble fiber will help you. And certain food, even if you take coffee which is decaf, still can cause constipation during pregnancy.
Okay.
Then, having fiber in form of bhindi, which is very good as a vegetable, methi, which is also high in fiber, which is helpful for the baby as well as for constipation. You can add to the diet. Then there are certain fruits which are rich in fiber, like guava and apple with the skin. All these will really help in curing your constipation. And now there's certain food which are also very rich in iron, which is say poha,
Yes.
wheaten rice, then watermelon, then dates. Now dates have a something whether to have or not, but if your stomach is not heaty, you can have dates because it's a rich source of iron.
Yeah.
Then of course chicken, if you are non-vegetarian, that will help. And pulses are very rich in protein, especially chana dal and black-eyed pea, which is the choli dal. But it sometimes people are not able to digest that dal. Then making sure your diet is also rich in protein. The
Yeah.
overall protein also is responsible for your hemoglobin. Then, but in the eastern part of India, there is one leaf called kulekhara.
Okay.
So you need to soak it in the night and boil it in the morning and have it, or some recipes there, which is available online, but that raises your iron level at the same time.
Okay.
But halim seeds, which actually raise
Yes.
your iron, may not be supposed to be eaten during pregnancy.
Pregnancy.
We are very
It's
careful
towards,
about.
like
Yeah.
the delivery time
Yes.
and all of that. We
So
say.
we are very,
So
very
maybe
careful.
it's smoothly come out. And I'm like,
No,
sometimes
no.
you hear about all these things, and I'm just like, because I've heard so much in 4 pregnancies that
Yeah.
it's just I've so much knowledge you gather, right? And then a lot of times I have a thing that I need to read about it before.
Yes.
Like I do it because there is always a science before.
Yeah.
Like
So our job is to remove the clutter and give them a straight path,
yeah.
and they should be just, and they're happy.
What is your go-to breakfast?
I don't do breakfast.
Egg and toast. I love egg and toast.
What's the one dish that comes to your mind when I say protein?
Chicken,
Curd.
Favorite fitness regime?
Pilates, and good workout.
So if I don't have any equipments around, no time, and walk and talk is my favorite go-to. But of course, I love Pilates.
Your favorite cheat meal? Treat meal?
So much. Burgers, pizzas, pastas, everything, and bounty chocolate.
So my favorite would be sev puri, bhel puri, and pav bhaji.
And pani puri.
Favorite fruit and why? And what's the right time to have it?
I love every fruit. Like I just love trying every fruit. And I can have fruit first thing in the morning and before I go to bed.
Mine would be papita, papaya, or banana.
And why?
I eat just because it's sweet, and papaya because it's sweet. And yeah, I love sweets. Yeah, but of course, papaya has a lot of benefits. It's cooling for your system. They think it is heaty, but I feel it's cooling. Reduces acidity, and banana, it is rich in fiber and iron, and I just love bananas.
What's a recipe that you love?
That I cook, I don't cook. Recipe that I love. I like a nice bland curry, like not too spicy, but naturally spicy. Not like the red chili spicy, the green chili spicy, and with like rice. It's like soul food, or like a nice dal chawal with a chutney.
Can you imagine dal chawal for me too? With a char.
Yeah,
And I make achars. Every summer,
yeah.
I more than 100 kilos carry ka main achar bana.
My mouth is watering.
I'll send you that after I make those. Everything is over.
Summer's coming.
Yes.
So, Suman, I've lately discovered how important mental health and nutrition go hand in hand. For me, it was always separate. And now, with the kids, when I see it, I can literally on some days see their mood just by the foods they eat. How do they correlate?
You know that there is a direct connection between your emotions and your stomach.
Yes.
So if you have a huge amount of acidity, you may be anxious. So it's a direct connection, right? That is why we understand if someone is having any eating disorders, or we know it is connected to your mental health or your emotions. That's why we have psychologists on our boards, and as soon as we find that a person is not able to relate to the food, or they're not able to, they are reaching out for the wrong food all the time, so we tell them you need to, or they're not eating, by the way.
Correct.
We have a lot of people, they are scared to eat.
Yeah.
So we put them through counseling sessions. Really works, because I think you rightly said it is all really connected.
Yeah.
And hangry.
Yes.
I know I get hangry.
I get hangry. Everyone, like, I know this for a fact because there's so many times, like, I'm just like, chat, 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 like in the house and everything. And my husband will suddenly come, he's like, तूने खाना खाया?
Yeah.
I was like, नहीं, किसे तू पहले खाना खा ले, फिर तो बात कर, because it just, my emotions come out like that, so many times.
Yeah.
So
You rightly said.
yeah,
So it's directly, fully connected, and
completely correlated.
so it's never just one thing separate. It is more a combination of counselor. So we have actually, as self-care, of course, we have a counselor, but we are all the time counseling. That's
Correct.
our
Yes,
job.
it is. Like, I completely agree because I'm now studying my counseling, and I'm an NLP master practitioner. And in NLP health, we did discuss that you can reverse certain ailments,
Of course.
like diabetes, thyroid, blood pressure, all of that. But I would also like to know about thyroid because I have thyroid myself. I have done and tried a lot of things of kind of removing things from my diet, adding certain things, um, a lot of breath work, pranayam, yoga, gargling with turmeric. Like I've tried everything, okay? Certain things, yes, did help. Like I went from 150 mcg to 75.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm now at that, and I'm still trying to go lower. But again, a lot of health play and nutrition comes into it. What would you suggest for thyroid?
So, as soon as someone comes with a borderline thyroid, we first check their iron levels because low iron, iron deficiency can make your thyroid worse. Second is vitamin B12 deficiency. So, always keep your B12 above 500. So, that is the second thing, iron and B12. Then check the amount of kind of fats you are incorporating in your diet. If so there is something called essential fatty acid, which is not available in ghee, which is not available in MUFA, which is olive oil. It is available in fish as food, otherwise normal vegetables oil, which we consume. So, if the why it is called essential fatty acid, PUFA has a part which is called essential fatty acids, which is only available in certain food, and that is important for the hormone production. So you need to make sure that the right oil is in play in your diet so that you don't have a deficiency of essential fatty acid, which can trigger hormonal imbalance. That is the third thing you have to look for. And of course, doing certain asanas, which is
Yeah,
Sarvangasana,
yeah.
and there is
I know they always.
Ardha Matsyasana. All that can help you to improve your thyroid
I know
function.
they're really funny sounds that come out, but they really I've seen that it triggers.
Yeah.
And
So that can help. D3 deficiency, and sometimes thyroid reduces because if you have insulin resistance. So sometimes if you're taking medication for insulin resistance, thyroid levels go down. Yeah. So sometimes they're hand in hand. So you need to check your insulin levels too. And
I'm coming to you for a full body checkup.
okay.
I'm doing this because I'm for the last 2-3 years. So I've had 9 pregnancies. Okay, I've had 5 miscarriages, and yes, and that journey of like every time someone sees me, like you're still pregnant. Like I'm like no, this is like my third or fourth or whatever it is, but that has caused so
Yeah.
much of internal turmoil within me, emotionally, mentally,
And of course, your
physically,
guess is everything is in
everything. And for the last 2 years, I'm on agenda, like on an agenda to fix my body, mind, soul in every aspect. That I want to just convert myself into this other person because now I have to be there not only for myself but for my children. So, like they say, always secure your own mask first before securing
Of
the
course.
others.
We always say first yourself, then
Yeah.
anyone else.
And this year has been, last 2 years have been that for me because just to balance my mental level and then focusing on what I'm eating, what I'm doing, how I'm working, who I'm meeting, it's all of this combines into one. And that's how important nutrition is.
I understand.
My
So,
life.
by the way, I've also had 8 pregnancies.
It's not
But of
easy.
course, you're always beating me by one.
But it's not like
It's not easy.
you know what you've gone through. You know the bubble you go into. You have to pretend that you're okay. You have to pretend that everything is fine. But inside, there's so much happening. And in turn, when all of this is happening, it directly correlates to the food you eat,
That's true.
and how that is like affected. So yeah, I mean, me and you can go on
Oh,
talking.
go on, yeah.
Yeah, with everything, but
Yeah.
so I've just finished my chat with Suman, who's also Self Care by Suman. And I've discovered that I need a lot of intake when it comes to nutrition because by default, I've been doing a lot of my own things and experimenting and reading and listening to my own body. But you do need a professional nutritionist on board, whether you're pregnant, you're a working mom, you're a house mom, just putting together your daily nutrition is what is required. And I really recommend you to go see someone.
So, Hi guys. So we had a very intense conversation with Parul Kakkad and MumbaiMummy.
MumbaiMummy.
So, I also came to know that there's so many things are in play when you're a mom, and she's doing a great job. She is really looking great with 4 children. And imagine whatever her age is, she doesn't look that. I can't reveal her age though. And we have broken many myths in this conversation, and importance of mental health and the nutrition, and of course for the kids too at the same time, and her beautiful insight into bringing up kids and becoming such a well-known mom on this platform. So much to learn from her today. Thank you, Parul.
Thank you so much for having me.